It was a calm Saturday morning when I first noticed her. She stood just outside the gate, clipboard in hand, sunglasses too big for her face, scanning the neighborhood like she owned it. I'd heard whispers about the new HOA president, some overly controlling woman who had just moved into the cul-de-sac and immediately began barking orders like she was running a military base. But I had no idea she'd try to push her way into my life like this. I was outside, mowing my lawn, earbuds in, sweat on my brow. I only noticed her when she waved her arms frantically, stomping toward me like an angry mall cop. I paused the mower, pulled out one earbud, and tried to stay polite. "Hi, can I help you?" She didn't return the greeting. "You need to open this gate," she snapped. "This is HOA property. I'm inspecting fences for compliance." I raised an eyebrow. "This isn't public HOA property. This is a private section. You need access permission," she scoffed, like I'd just told her the sky was green. "I'm the HOA president. I don't need permission. Open the gate." Now, I wasn't trying to escalate anything, but I also wasn't going to let a random woman walk into my property with a clipboard and a self-inflated title. I told her again, calmly, that without legal access or a prior notice, she wasn't coming in. That's when things turned ugly. Her voice went shrill. "Do you know who I am? I have authority. You're required to comply with HOA inspections. You're obstructing policy." I crossed my arms and calmly replied, "Then bring a written notice. You're not entering today." That's when she pulled out her phone and did something I didn't expect. She dialed 911. If you enjoyed this wild HOA showdown and love real stories with shocking twists, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to QZ Stories. We bring you true tales where justice, karma, and drama collide every single week. And if you've ever dealt with a Karen like this, drop your story in the comments below. We'd love to feature it next. Right there on my front yard, she called the cops. I watched her pace around, fake crying into the phone, telling the operator that she was being threatened, that I was acting aggressively, and that she feared for her safety. Meanwhile, I stood there, arms at my sides, just blinking in disbelief. I didn't say a word because I didn't need to. See, what this HOA Karen didn't know was, my wife is the 911 dispatcher on duty that morning, and she just took the call. At that exact moment inside our home, my wife looked at the caller ID flashing across the screen at the dispatch desk and immediately recognized the address. Her face froze for a second before breaking into a smirk. She listened to Karen rant and cry and claim she was being held hostage by an aggressive man. Then she responded in the calmest, most professional voice you can imagine. "Ma'am, can you describe the man?" Karen paused. He's tall, wearing a gray shirt, standing by a lawnmower, refusing to let me inspect his fence." There was silence on the line for a moment. Then my wife said, flatly, "That's my husband." I wish I could have seen Karen's face when she heard that, but what happened next was even better. My wife stepped out onto the porch, still holding the phone in full dispatcher uniform. Karen's eyes nearly bugged out of her head. She looked like someone had just exposed her in a live courtroom. My wife didn't yell. She didn't even look mad. She simply walked up and said, "Ma'am, this is private property. You're trespassing. Please leave, or you'll be the one answering to law enforcement." Karen went pale. She stuttered something about just following HOA rules and doing her job. But the bravado had completely drained from her voice. She backed off, almost tripping over her heels, then muttered something under her breath and disappeared. Down the street, you'd think that'd be the end of it. But no. Karen doubled down. 2 days later, we received an official warning notice in the mail from the HOA, signed by her, of course. It accused us of obstruction and failure to comply with HOA policy. It included a $250 fine and a threat of legal action. She really wanted to go to war, but what she didn't know is that I had recorded everything. From the moment she first approached my gate to the moment she falsely reported me to 911, my home. Surveillance system caught it all. Clear audio, high-res video, time-stamped. I sent a copy to the rest of the HOA board, along with a formal complaint, and a reminder that false 911 calls are a criminal offense. Within 3 days, we got another letter. This one was from the HOA board, excluding Karen. The fine was dropped. The warning was revoked, and Karen, she was suspended pending investigation. Later, I found out she wasn't even officially authorized to inspect anything that day. She made it up, hoping to flex her title and intimidate people into letting her in. Turns out I wasn't her first target, just the first one who pushed back and had the receipts. The best part? A week later, at the next HOA meeting, she tried to show up and pretend nothing had happened. But someone had printed out a frame-by-frame photo series from my security footage and taped it to the bulletin board. She left in tears. Since then, our neighborhood